What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel and welcome back. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed unless, of course, your taste level is lacking. And if that's the case, then if you can't get help at charter, please get help somewhere. Y'all's niece is down there going to town on a bone. Hopefully the mic is not picking it up, but if so, that's who that is. And I also want to correct something. In my last video, I said it was 3 years in March that I have been locked. It's actually been 2. So all of y'all in the comments, including myself, that was like, it doesn't feel like 3 years. Yeah, it's because it wasn't 3 years. It kind of feel like 2 though. And I also have another folklore video coming up. I just recorded all but one of the stories via voiceover, so as soon as I get the imaging with that, which I'm getting faster at, I feel they'll be up and I'm excited. Y'all really enjoyed the last one, and without further ado, let's get into the details, the meat and potatoes of today's video, which is the horrible, sad case of Nadia Kajouji. The fall of 2007, Nadia and another young woman by the name of Pascale Jensen are students, first-time students at different universities, and are introduced to one another through a mutual friend who thought they would get along great. Their contact information is swapped. The two of them, they chat, and it seems as if, you know, the mutual friend was right because they really hit it off. They really enjoyed speaking with one another, and so they decided to go ahead and set up their first date. Now, I'm not sure about Kajouji, but this was Pascale's very first date with another woman, so she's very nervous. Although she has been attracted to women, this is like the first time that she's really acting on those attractions. Treading these uncharted territories made her very nervous. But once they get seated and they get to talking in the small cafe, she finds Nadia very easy to talk to and realizes that there was truly nothing at all to worry about. The conversation between them flows very easily. The two of them sit there talking to one another for hours, and at the end of the day, both of them are of course looking forward to seeing one another. Now from there, the two young ladies spent a lot of their time together hanging out, whether it's in Nadia's dorm room, somewhere on Nadia's campus, at parties with friends. The two are almost inseparable, and Nadia was very interesting. She is from Brampton, Canada. She grew up with a very close, loving, tight-knit family, but after graduating high school, she wanted to branch out a little bit, get out into the world, have her own experiences, explore, find herself, make new friends, all of the things that we want to do, right, when we feel like we've grown. And Nadia had chosen a school in Ottawa because it was far enough to give her that space, but it's also not too far away from home. Ooh, mama been out there tanning, girl. I'm gonna have to tweak the foundation. She is studying law. Although that does keep her really busy, she always makes a little time for the things that she enjoys doing, which one is video diaries that she records in her closet, and she also does these very fun fashion videos where she would dress up in clothes, put outfits together, model it in her closet, and upload it to Facebook. Now, Nadia's first semester in college is very fun. She attends the party, she makes the friends, and does everything that she imagined herself doing while in school. At the end of her first semester, right before Christmas break, something really strange happens. She and Pascale have a date planned that Nadia just flakes on. And this is not some like isolated one-off thing. Nadia is not answering her text messages or phone calls. She's being very vague, really, to herself. And this young lady that she's spent the whole semester getting to know is taken aback. She's confused, also very concerned because it seemingly like happened out of the blue. So she stops by Nadia's dorm room to see if she could talk to her in person and kind of get a feel for what's going on and where her head is, and Nadia does not even open the dorm door for her. A few days later, she finally responds to one of the text messages. She apologizes for being MIA, and she explains that she has not been feeling well lately. She would like to just go home on her Christmas break, hopefully pull herself together. She tells her that, you know, if she's feeling better in January, she will surely get in contact with her basically. But until then, it was kind of like a, this was fun, but girl, I need some time, which Pascale tries to respect. So Nadia packs up her things that she wants to take home for her break. And when she gets home to her family, the family that I described as being very close-knit, very family oriented, well, according to Nadia's older brother, when she came home that Christmas break, she was not the same person that they had sent off to college in the fall. Her family attempts to engage with her, talk with her, you know, but she's very standoffish and withdrawn, which definitely takes them by surprise. During her entire break, she spends most of her time alone in her room, in the dark, She was just completely closed off and very obviously did not want to be bothered. Everyone at home noticed that there was a stark difference between the young lady she had left as and this current version of her, which is of course very concerning. Even the whole mood and vibe of her content that she's uploading to Facebook changes. Like, I'll insert a clip of the before, how happy she looked, and then the after, where it's just very different. Now, as a long-time battler of depression and anxiety, this is very clearly, obviously a case of that. It seems that she is possibly just making a very rough adjustment to the school life. Her family does try to talk to her, but without her really being willing to talk and let them in, it is not much else that they could do besides let her know that she has their full support and that they're here for her, however and whenever she needs them to be. Now, January rolls around, everyone returns to school, and she is still very distant with P. I'm gonna call her P. The name don't roll off my tongue, y'all. I'm sorry. He makes several attempts to try to see Nadia after her return from being home, but Nadia is not receptive to any of P's invitations. There's always a reason why she's not available for any of the things. So over time, it gets to a point where their communication is super limited, mostly initiated by P, only mostly taking place via Facebook. And P kind of gets to the point where she's like, well, you know, I'll allow Nadia to come around if she decides that she wants to. And so with little communication that they do have, it quickly fizzles out. Now, P is there studying dance. She has a lot of things that she could be busying herself with, so she completely immerses herself into her own studies and her own interests and puts Nadia in the back of her mind. Until about a month later in February, when that mutual friend that had introduced them invites P to a party, and she tells her it's a frat party, it's gonna be a great time. Not only that, but Nadia will also be there. You'll get the opportunity to see Nadia in person. FYI, horrible idea. If somebody is struggling and they are distancing themselves from you, do not try to ambush them. However, I'm sure Pete was very concerned, thought this was a good idea. They get dressed, go down to the party. And to them, it appears to have been the right decision to have made. Nadia is there. The two of them get to chat like old times. They're having a good time talking, catching up, and everything seems to be fine. Here they are hugged up on the couch together, posing for the photo. They sit and they talk a little bit longer. Nadia gets up to go to the restroom, or so P thought, and then she just never returns. Because while they were under the impression that she had gone to the bathroom, she had actually left the party without letting them know. So P, the mutual friend, they're calling her. They try to text her to see like where she is, to see if she left without saying goodnight, and she does not respond to either of them once again. Fast forward about 2 weeks later after this, on Friday, March the 13th, Nadia's family finds out that for 3 days now, Nadia has been missing. The last evening that she was home, her roommates heard her door close to her room at about 11:20 p.m., which was not unusual at all. They figured that she had just gotten in and was going to wind down for the night. But the following morning, when they get up, Nadia's door is still closed and there is music playing inside of her room. They knock. There's no answer. She does not answer her phone. And they attempt to open the door. Her bedroom door is locked. Very unusual. They continue to knock really hard, thinking, hoping maybe she's in there just in a really deep sleep. And when she does not answer the door, after a while, they get with the campus police to have them go into the room. The room is dark. It is empty. There is no sign of Nadia anywhere. Her wallet is there. It does not have her ID in it, but it does have her money. And her cell phone is also there in her room. The entire day goes by without a sign of Nadia. And then later that evening, she makes a Facebook post that read, "Nadia will someday be loved." So learning now that 3 whole days have gone by without anybody seeing her, hearing from her, her father and her brother, they drop everything and head down to Ottawa. The police get the story of her disappearance out to the news, and there is a search party put together that consists of law enforcement, her family, and of course her friends, students, and other good Samaritans that just wanted to come out there, help and volunteer. Mind you, this is the wintertime in Ottawa, and the winter there, from what I saw on Google, is said to be very, very brutal. There's ice and there's snow everywhere. Her father and her brother, they were both very desperate to find her, but her father was very desperate. This man stood out in the snow, passing out flyers for up to 18 hours a day at times. He was very determined to find his daughter, and he was all around the campus and the town asking people if they had seen her, hopeful that someone had. And while going through her things, they find that Nadia had actually had an appointment with a counselor regarding her mental health for the following day, the first day that she was missing. And in her most recent video, she talked about how she had been suffering from insomnia and depression and had some very strong desires to harm herself. They also find that lately Nadia has been spending a lot of her time talking to someone online that none of her friends are familiar with. Someone named Cammy with an alias of Falcon Girl. And it appears that this Cammy person has also been having a tough time battling with their mental and emotional health. They expressed to Nadia very similar desires, shared a lot of the same sentiments regarding life and all of its struggles that Nadia had expressed in her latest video diary. And not only did they share these ideas, Cammy seemed pretty set on ending herself. They had told Nadia that as a nurse, she knew the best ways that would be quick, painless, and clean. The two talked a lot. Like, they spent hours online chatting, and a lot of times they would refer to each other as their soulmate. And while Cammy's expressed that her preferred method is hanging, Nadia says that she would prefer it look like an accident. She said specifically that she would prefer that it look like a skating incident gone wrong. And then they noticed that Nadia's ice skates and her coat are missing. They move quickly to have this Cammy person's IP address tracked so they can find her location, talk to her, and her IP address is tracked down to Rice County in Minnesota, down here in the US. So they contact the resident that is listed as owning the home, and they're hoping that this is not some pact between the two girls that has now been carried out. Now, the man that is, I guess, the owner of the house is who they get in contact with. They let him know all of the things that are going on, all of their concerns. And he tells them that it's very possible that these messages with Nadia could have been exchanged with his daughter, but he insists that she is very much alive and well, and he ensures them that he'll, have a conversation with her to make sure there's nothing afoot. The investigators are relieved, and with that, they decide to route their search toward the Drybrough River and other frozen bodies of water that people would frequently go ice skating on during the winter. And still, their search yields nothing. It's actually a guy that is out kayaking that comes across the remains of Nadia Kajouji. Unfortunately, she had carried out her plan in the method that she told Cammy she would want to, but of course, it does not leave everybody believing it to have been some accident. Nadia's remains are returned to her hometown, and they give her a proper burial. And initially, it seems that now that they've found her, it's kind of obvious that she had done this to herself. And it's looking like the case is closed, solved, done with. But March 25th, Sergeant Bob Hader of the St. Paul Police Department receives a very strange cryptic email. Now, Sergeant Bob specifically investigates child exploitation via the internet. And the center of this email is not even in Canada. They are over in the UK. And they say that there is this person that goes online into the pro-end your life chat rooms, or the type of chat rooms people go to get help, to be talked off the ledge. But this person goes into the chat rooms, finds these vulnerable people, and he encourages them to commit the act, offering them advice on how to do it, and also asking if they could be present via webcam to watch and assist while they do it. Now, this person is said to also be entering into pacts with these people, saying that they are going to do it as well, right along with them, but of course does not go through with it at the very last minute and just sits there and watch them go through with it instead. Very sick, very perverse. Instead, they just move on to their next target, hoping that they can convince yet another person to do the same. The sender of this email lists 2 chat room sites that they could likely find this individual, and also sends Sergeant Hader 2 email addresses for the person that they are accusing of this. One of them is falcongirl507@gmail.com. 507 is the Minnesota area code, at least one of them, and falcongirl5@gmail.com, who is also very obviously Cammy. This person also goes by the alias Lee Dow, and the person is chronically online and active in these chat rooms. And as Lee Dow had also entered into a pact with the 32-year-old Mark Drybrough, whom she had successfully lured to his end on July 27th of 2005 and faked him out, leaving him to do the deed by himself. So she had been at this for a while, because now we in 2008. Mark's mother had found his communication with Lee Dow after she found her son. It was still up on his screen. Lee Dow had used the Cammy alias and the Falcon Girl alias in their communications, where she had said the same kind of things that she had said to Nadia, that she understood where they were in life and that she was actually a nurse and could help them do it more efficiently, because sometimes people make attempts and fail and they end up in the hospital or mental health wards. She said that she knew what worked, what didn't, why things worked and why they didn't, and was very specific about the process, what type of rope to use, which we already know what her preferred method is, where to put it on the neck, where to secure the rope to. And unfortunately, Mark Drybrough had followed her instructions to a T, which included live streaming it for Lee Dow, Cammy, Falcon Girl, this person to be able to watch. Now, the sender of this email has been after Falcon Girl, Cammy, Lee Dow, all of these names, this person for a while now, and even set up a sting operation with somebody else that she had tried to lure to their end. She herself had been in the chat rooms trying to talk people out of it, give them encouraging words, lift them up, and this is how she became privy to the things that were going on. Now, this third lady that assisted her with her sting had spoken to her and Lee Dow. And of course, she's like the angel on the shoulder saying, don't do it. Lee Dow was like, no, you can do it. I want to support you. I want to be here for you. I want to help you do it. She decided ultimately not to do it, but she went through with the process with Lee Dow. Lee Dow joins the webcam, ready to see the things, and eventually puts their face in their own webcam, and they were able to get a screen grab of the person's face. Surprise, Miss Falcon Girl wasn't a girl at all. And this is Miss Falcon Girl. William Melker Dinkle, a ridiculous name for a ridiculous person. The IP address associated with these email addresses leads Sergeant Hayter to the same house in Minnesota that the same officers investigating Nadia's disappearance had been led to previously. And William is actually the same person that they spoke to previously that said they had a daughter. And it was likely the daughter sending the messages. But this person in this screenshot, this screen grab, it's been him all along. Now, between the Ottawa police and the UK police, they feel like they have enough evidence to pursue him. It is illegal in the state of Minnesota to assist people in pulling their own blood. It's encouraging it, aiding it. It's very, very illegal. Where he has been wreaking havoc from the darkness of his dank bedroom. I know it's dank. But when these two teams of authorities get together with the local police for his town, the local police are like, not so fast, baby. Hold on a second. Because yes, William is a nurse, but his wife lives there as well. And she is also a nurse. So are we sure we are going in on the right individual? Like, I know y'all got this screen grab from this nice global citizen, but how sure can we be that it is not his wife or that she is not involved? And this is a family affair. Detectives decide, including Sergeant Bill, to go out to the house and just speak to Mr. Dinkle. Ask a few questions, get a little statement from him, probably Mrs. Dinkle as well. And if they're lucky, get Lee Dow to come forward and admit the things. When they get there, William is very friendly. He invites them inside to sit down and talk so they can all be comfortable. They tell him that they are experts with internet-related issues. And he immediately cuts them off and is like, I know what you mean. So Sergeant Bill goes, what do you mean? Like, what can you tell me? And William says, well, my wife and I are in the healthcare field and we've talked to people that have had issues with depression and self-deletion and so forth. So at that point, they ask if this is a conversation or a discussion that Mrs. Dinkle needs to be brought into because she's in a different room. And he says no, that she has nothing to do with what he's been up to online, and that no one else in the family, in the house, nobody else that he knows has had anything to do with it, just him. Now, when they ask what these online discussions look like what did they consist of? What were they like? He says that people will get online looking for methods, and he'll approach them and try to see what's going on in their life. Why are they feeling this way. He says his goal was to discourage them from going through with it, but he does admit that he did answer some questions just straightforward because he had the knowledge as a nurse and he knows how people make failed attempts and end up in the hospital and disabled after the fact, and he just didn't want that for anyone. So here he was on the internet giving options and tips for efficiency. They asked him if he has been in these internet streets presenting as a female nurse, and he says, I mean, I didn't outright come out and say I'm a 46-year-old male. I've used an anonymous name so people don't know exactly who I am and where I am. And when they ask him for some of these names that he would use, he gives them two: Falcon Girl and Lee Dow. Baby, you should have just stuck your wrist out right at the door, girl. When they knocked you open, you should have just put your wrist right to the cuffs. Because what is this? I mean, I'm glad he's talking and telling all of the things, but I'm like, excuse me, like, child, I digress. Take him to jail, baby. Marie Antoinette said, let them eat cake, let them be dumb. They asked this man if he only encouraged people from committing the crime. Like, only discouraged? And he says, I discouraged it a lot of the times, but other times, you know, what can you do? When they ask him for a number, ballpark figure of those he has assisted successfully, like if he had to guess what that number would be, would he know? And he says, honestly, no. That he has no idea how many people it's been over the years. And when they ask him about the packs and him agreeing to do it at the same time, but deciding not to at the last minute, he admits to that. And he was a little bit of a jerk in my opinion, because when they specifically asked him about Nadia, that had he made a pact with a young girl in Canada and she had gone through it and done it, but he had not after promising her that he would, he says, obviously, yeah. As if to say, like, duh, like, don't you see me still sitting here? Like, obviously I didn't go through with it. Now, while he claims that he and his wife started so they can help people, he admits that over time, with him, it became something way more sinister, that he really enjoyed talking these people into doing this. He enjoyed making these pacts that he was not keeping with them, that he enjoyed watching people hang, and he was fascinated by it, obsessed even, like with the process. He said that he enjoyed pushing people to the edge just to see how far they would go, and not only to see if he could convince them to do it, but if he could also convince them to allow him a front row live viewing. Now, at the very end of his interview, child, because he done told them everything they needed to know. Okay, they have him bring his wife into the room that they're in and admit to her all of the things that he's been up to, his enjoyment, his thrill that he gets from it. And according to the detectives, her reaction of surprise and distress felt very genuine. They didn't think that she was acting, and they really didn't believe that she knew he was up to any of these things. William voluntarily hands over his computer for them to search, and they find all kinds of footage, video, photos of people he has talked over the edge. And he had been saving all of this footage on his computer all this time. He'd also saved a ton of conversations he did have with these people. I guess we can go back, look over, and get himself off, including the conversations he had with Nadia, calling her his soulmate, pretending to be this Cammy person. And with all of the evidence they have against him, along with his confession, he is able to officially be charged. The charges were filed in the U.S., and William was facing up to 30 years in prison. He was charged for aiding in both Nadia and Mark's death. Here he is heading to court job with his little wife and told Mrs. Dinkle. Don't they look like some Dinkles? She's stuck beside him. And his lawyer says that while his client's actions were, quote, unsavory, they are not illegal, and he was actually protected through his First Amendment right of free speech. He said that his client had the right to converse, advise, even encourage people in any way that he saw fit, and they ultimately had the free will to go through with it or not. Whether they did or not was not on his client. Now, William is ultimately found guilty by a trial judge, but he is only found guilty of assisting Mark Drybrough in his death, but only attempting to assist Nadia Kajouji, because she had not done exactly what he told her to do, and she had already had the idea that she wanted to do something like this. And with his verdict, he is sentenced to 3 years in prison, but the judge suspended his sentence so that he would only actually serve 1 year in jail and then 10 years of probation after that. And the judge's reasoning for this amount of time was that William wasn't the sole reason either of them died. Child, just sick. at Mr. Dinkle's second sentencing hearing, he does offer an apology to Nadia and Mark's family, saying, quote, "I am sorry for my actions and what I have done. I have repented." Girl, please. And he is ultimately released from jail after serving 178 days, which is roughly about 6 months. And even after his release, he and his lawyer have still fought to have his conviction overturned entirely. Chill. And what Dinkle birthday? When is Mr. Dinkle's birthday? July 20th of 1962. Is that a Cancer? Definitely a Cancer. Bella, that's your people acting up like that, girl. Now I'm scared. Anywho, I gotta get out of here. That is it for this video. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not. As always, I appreciate you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace. What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel, and I welcome back. Go ahead and hit the subscribe. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you are not Bella, please. In the fall of 2007, Oscar, who is that? Bella, please. Upbeat sister that he had seen leave, literally just leave several. Bella, please. Her family that I described. The family. Bella! They shared with Cammy. I know she is Cammy Brew. They expressed to Nadia very similar desires. So with the live script, aka William Melchert Dinglebert. Wait, what is his name? William Melchert Dinkle. Alright, so there's that.